Thank you for joining us today for this episode of This Ability Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Bodwin, and joining us today is Craig Oser, Marketing and Digital Engagement Director for the Special Olympics of Louisiana. Welcome to the show, Craig.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mary. I appreciate it very much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Like you said, I'm the Director of Marketing and Digital Engagement at Special Olympics Louisiana. Been in this role a little bit of over the last 3 years or so, but I've been with the organization since 2012. Took a little break in between there for a little bit, but I started my second stint with the organization. Worked with volunteers before, some development stuff, and now handling our marketing. So I handle our social media, website, anything kind of marketing related throughout the organization. And married with 2 kids, really enjoy what I do here.
I did a little research on the Special Olympics. It is an organization I'm pretty familiar with. I used to work at a resort and we would sponsor the law enforcement torch run for Central Louisiana and Special Olympics. But I did look up the vision statement of the Special Olympics, and it looks as though it wants to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion in all communities. So tell us a little bit more about how that is integrated into the events that you guys have.
Absolutely. We have a variety of events. A lot of people are shocked to know that in a normal year, and I say normal because we've all kind of dealt with COVID and whatnot, but we are back to normal now. We'll have over 70 events a year, competitions throughout the year. And that's area events, that's local events, that's state events. Plus we have fundraisers and all that sort of stuff. So we do get everyone involved, the community involved for that. The biggest thing, you can be a general volunteer. Volunteers come out day of the event. There'll be timers for the track meets. They'll keep score for softball games, anything like that. We just ask that you register before, and we do put that information on our website and social media as well too. The next big thing is a coach. Our coaches are the backbone of the organization. If we don't have coaches, we can't have our competitions. Coaches do take on a little bit more responsibility than a general volunteer, but they're the ones with the athletes. They face the athletes daily and get them ready for competitions. And then the other one is our unified partner, people without intellectual disabilities. And I guess I should have kind of stepped back a little bit. Special Olympics Louisiana is for people with intellectual disabilities, not physical disabilities. Now, that's not to say if they have a physical disability, they can't participate with us, but they do have to have that intellectual disability first. So the unified partners are people without intellectual disabilities, and they actually play on the same team as our athletes, have unified basketball, softball, flag football, all that sort of stuff, and even swimming and track as well too. So they take part with our athletes on the field of play. They have that interaction. So they do go through some more trainings and stuff, and as a unified partner and a coach than a general volunteer. So yes, trying to get everyone involved on the same field and working together is pretty paramount of what we do.
And for those of you listening, I did look up the website, which has a lot of information on it. It's specialolympicsla.org. That's specialolympicsla.org, because of course they are a nonprofit organization. And there's a lot of resources there for people if they want to volunteer, if they want to learn more about coaching or being a unified partner, as you mentioned. Some very good things on there. And I know you guys are on social media too. I'm sure you have a Facebook, Instagram,
Yes,
all of that. So if somebody wants to follow you, is it listed under Special Olympics Louisiana? I know there's a lot in the nation, right? A lot of different chapters of Special Olympics.
Each state has their own program. So we are Special Olympics Louisiana. If you search on Facebook or Instagram, we're at Special Olympics Louisiana. Twitter, or X, I guess now, is at SO Louisiana. So that's a little bit different. But if you search Special Olympics Louisiana, we should pop up. We're doing a lot of more videos throughout the past few months and things like that.
That can go viral.
We're really introducing you more to our athletes and what they can do and what they are doing. So that's, want to get inspired, check out our social media. We have a lot of good stuff there. And as far as our website as well too. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
You have participants coming in from all over different regions of the state?
Every parish, pretty much. We have 9 regions throughout that week, kind of broken the state up. Our athletes compete at the local level first. So their area programs and then, or their local programs, then to area events. And then from area events, they can go to state events, which we have different events, and those are listed on our website as well too. And then from state events, they can qualify every 4 years for USA Games, which actually takes place in 2026 again. And then there are World Games from there too that Special Olympics International puts on. So we have certain quotas that we receive for those events, and then we can select the teams, or you qualify at the state event to be able to go to those events from there. So, a lot of people think, oh, it's just a one-time event type thing. We have things going on all year long. Plus there is advancement opportunities for our athletes. And a lot of times with these bigger events for USA Games and World Games, a lot of our athletes have never traveled before. This is their first opportunity to get on a plane and go do things. Yeah, I've actually got to be part of two of those. In 2014, we went to New Jersey, and then 2022, we went to Orlando. One in between, but I wasn't here for. But
what was
it's
that
amazing.
experience like?
Oh, it's incredible. It is the longest week ever because there's not a lot of sleep, but it is so much fun. You see athletes compete on a scale that you've never seen before, and they're so excited to be there. They're so excited to be competing. There's new people that they're meeting and different things like that. So it's absolutely wonderful to see something like that.
I mean, that sounds great. The games alone can be fun, much less traveling to a new city and a new area. That can be just the vacation of a lifetime, really, because you have fun. I mean, I wouldn't think it would be, too tedious or too stressful.
And there's times for fun, but the athletes, they know they're there to compete. They want to win gold. It's a great thing, and it's a really fun time. So 2026 is our next one for USA Games, and that'll be in Minnesota. It'll be here before you know it.
One of the things I was looking up is the different competitions that Special Olympics offers, and they have everything from swimming to softball, bowling, basketball, powerlifting, and a lot more. So I wanted to ask if anyone's listening and they're interested in being an athlete for the Special Olympics, how do they obtain eligibility or enter a competition? How do they go about doing that?
First thing for any new athlete, go to our website, specialolympicsla.org, as you have mentioned, and click on right at the top of the page, become an athlete. And it'll take you through some steps. There's some certain paperwork that you need to fill out. We call it our medical. So there's certain things that you have to do. Once all that paperwork's filled out, you'll essentially join a team. So let's just say, and you guys are in the Acadiana area, we have a really good, strong program out there. There's a bunch of different, what we call local training programs. So one of them is CC's Pride. So if they're in that locale for that area, that local program leader would contact that athlete once we have all the paperwork and see what they're interested in. If softball, if it's swimming, if it's horseshoes or anything. And then they would work on a plan or put them with a coach. They don't ever have a coach, and they would start practicing. Just like any sport, we have seasons. So right now, our next event is swimming, which is in September, our state event. So usually training programs start 8 weeks out from the competition. So those will be kicking off here pretty soon. So it's just say an athlete wants to get involved in swimming, they fill out their medical, the local program leader would reach out to them, pair them with a coach, and then they would start training for that competition. They go into the area competition first, and then from there would qualify to go to state competition.
Well, in addition to the sports programs, Special Olympics Louisiana offers youth leadership programs and school engagement. So tell us a little bit more about those.
I'll start with the school, UCS, or Unified Champion School. And this program has had a few different names over the years. It's all essentially a thing. And what it is we go into the schools. I mean, we're actually in over 300 schools throughout Louisiana right now. And we work with athletes, Special Olympics athletes, and people without intellectual disabilities. So those unified partners, and kind of get them on the same page. There's 3 tiers to it. Unified sports, which is one of them, which means, again, those athletes with and without intellectual disabilities playing on the same field. Youth leadership, which is where those leaders in the school would plan different activities. So like a pep rally or something like that, where pep rally is probably the wrong one, but they plan different inclusive activities, because the last one is whole school engagement. And that's where you get the whole school involved, like a pep rally. Our state summer games, which is our largest event of the year, takes place in May. So these youth leaders at that school would essentially get together and say, hey, we're going to do a pep rally for all the Special Olympics athletes that are going to this event. And the whole school is there. Everyone knows what's going on. They're cheering on athletes, and it's a great time. We have many different things. Our sports will always be at our core, right? That's where we were founded and what we do. But we have the school programs, and we also have health programs too. We have a program called Healthy Athletes, and there's 8 different disciplines: podiatry, dental, mental health, among different things. And that's all listed on our website as well too. And it's all free. None of this is at any cost to our athletes or our families, anything like that. Even USA Games, and we kind of talked about that, that's no cost to the athlete. We cover 100% of that through fundraising, through fundraisers, and that sort of thing as well too, and donors. We are more than sports. Sports is at our core, but we do have so much more that we offer as well too.
I think that's a great point that you bring up.
Special Olympics has been around, I think this year is 56 years. A lot of people still think we're one event a year track meet, and there's so much more to it. So I would implore your audience audience, check out our website, see what we have out there.
For our listeners, tell us more about the torch run.
Law Enforcement Torch Run is the largest grassroots fundraiser for Special Olympics. It has been so for a number of years. It was started in Kansas this year is 40 years ago. And there was a chief of police there that just decided that he wanted to do something and wanted to get his officers involved. And so the Torch Run, officers essentially, it's a fundraiser. So they go, they register to run a leg of the torch run. And the part of it, they run all throughout the state, the week of state summer games, culminating at opening ceremonies at state summer games, which we have been hosting at Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond for the last 20 or so years. But they run the state, and they do many other things. They do a bowling event where they raise money, and they do Cover the Cruiser, where they get people to, you pay $1 or $2 to sign and put stuff on the police cruiser and that sort of things like that. So there's so much stuff that they do, and we really appreciate all of our law enforcement doing different things. And in your area specifically, there's a couple agencies that work our Camp Shriver out there each summer, or have the last few years. And they do, they love interacting with the athletes, and our athletes love interacting with it. It's great to see, and they do a lot for us as well.
Fun all around.
You got it.
We have just a few minutes left. I did want to ask you about success stories. I know that you've probably seen, since been there for years, many different athletes, and probably have heard many stories of inspiration. Who stands out to you? If you could narrow it to one or even two people, there's probably a whole list of people you could name, but someone that really stands out to you?
Yeah, there's a lot, and any given time, we hear stories about athletes and overcoming obstacles. And because of Special Olympics, there's an athlete, and I was thinking about this, and he's actually one of the athletes we've been featuring this year on our social media is Tanner. He's out in the Lafayette area. We actually just posted something this week of Tanner talking about, he played high school football. He was a shy kid, and you'll hear his mom talks about it too, that, he didn't really say much, he didn't really do much. And then he got involved with Special Olympics, and it's all kind of changed. He's made friends, and he talks to them, and he has meaning in his life. He holds a full-time job. It's stories like that that make what I do worth it. And that's the biggest thing. It's hearing those stories day in and day out. And anybody that's been in nonprofit knows, sometimes there's a grind, right? But hearing the stories and seeing our athletes succeed on and off the playing field is what's great. So yeah, Tanner's he's a great athlete too. I mean, he did the pentathlon at our state summer games and did really well. And
what is a pentathlon?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I probably shouldn't have. No, it's however many events it is, but they compete different types of events. So long jump, I think they do the 800 meter, standing long jump, different things like that. And we actually have Tanner, and there's another athlete, Kirby, who's another great athlete out in Lake Charles. And both of them are really, it was great to see. I guess shameless plug here. If you go on our YouTube page, there's a recap video, and you can see both of them talking and just how happy they are. And they compete against each other, but they each want the other to do better. They raise each other up, and it's just great to see.
I will definitely look up the video, and I'll share it on our page, because our Facebook numbers keep growing. We're small, but we're growing, especially the fact that Tanner's here from Lafayette. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about regarding Special Olympics that we haven't covered?
I would just encourage everyone, if you haven't come to one of our events, to come out, even if you can't volunteer, even just to come be in the stands and watch the competition. It's fun. It's great to see the athletes and watch them compete. If you want to volunteer, we'd love to have you. All of the volunteer information is on our website at specialolympicsla.org. There's a button towards the top to where you can just click on become a volunteer, and it'll show you everything that you need to do, whether volunteering today, just a general volunteer, or a coach or something a little bit more. And, I just encourage out, join us and see what we're all about. And of course, we are a nonprofit, so support us. Donors are how we kind of get things done. Again, like I'll tell you, our athletes are free of charge. We do not charge our athletes for anything, whether it's going to USA Games and it's in Minnesota in a couple of years, they do not get charged a penny. So we do rely on donors and things like that. And last thing I'll mention, we do have an event in Lafayette. It's actually with Topgolf towards the end of September. It's called Unified for Joy, where actually Topgolf has become an actual official sport through Special Olympics this year. And there'll be some law enforcement involved in here. And so all that is on our website, and will be on our social media as we get a little bit closer as well too. So I encourage the Lafayette community to come out for that event. They got some different levels, especially business businesses that want to get involved in it, we'd appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Craig. It's been a pleasure to meet you virtually. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of This Ability Podcast. If you're enjoying our podcast, be sure to like our page on Facebook at This Ability Podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening.
Help us grow our audience by subscribing to our podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast networks. Additionally, if you enjoy listening to our podcast, help us to be discovered by leaving a rating or review of our episodes. This will connect us with other potential listeners and help us to expand our audience. From all of us at This Ability Podcast, we thank you for your ongoing support of our mission to unveil stories that inspire and enlighten others in the special needs community.